This is James Dixon, but today I come with someone's name who is bigger than my own. Bigger because they have a calling to reach people that I don't even reach. Ben Kjar is someone who is known for being a standout, but it was not because of wrestling. It's because he stands out in life for people. His biggest opponent is to wrestle down everything that he's supposed to be in life and bring that and pin that down so that everyone else can have things that he didn't have or doesn't have. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the one, the only, the All-American, Ben Kjar.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here, brother.
And thank you for coming, man. Listen, this is when I say this. Rarely do I get a chance to sit here and spend time with people that I can say, man, I admire who you are and what you do for others. You've made this thing a ministry of your life. I want to start off telling people a little bit about you. Would you do it this way? What is it that gets Ben up and going? Not the wrestler, but the man today. What gets Ben up and going today?
Man, when you say the word administer, it's like administering the gospel, and gospel is the good news. And the good news is allowing yourself to know that your version 1.0, your best version of you is better than everyone else's version 2.0, my man. I say that because, man, when I was born with Crouzon syndrome. It's a facial difference. Mm-hmm. And brother, I would wake up, I'd look in the mirror, and I'd look back up at God and be like, God, it didn't work. Like my face is the same. So I'd go to, because every night I would pray to God, if my face could just be different. I have the faith of a mustard seed. My face will be different tomorrow morning. And it wouldn't. I'd go to school. I would just beg and plead that I could be everybody else's version 2.0. And so here's what I would say. I would say everybody has the opportunity to have confidence in and of themselves. The biggest flex today is not riches. It's not fame. It's not notoriety. It's literally inner peace. I've met some of such wealthy people monetarily.
Oh man,
and
struggle.
They can be angry.
Yeah.
And when people have inner peace with like who they are, man, that's like the biggest flex.
It's kind of like this. It's almost like life being a monopoly to people. They tell you if you get all the places, if you own this, you own that, you get all the money, you get all the right pieces, you'll find joy. But it never does. Even if you own everything else, it comes with the consequences of everyone else losing. And what happens is you start to live life and the new car, the joy you get when you first get it, a month later, that's gone. But what does last is that inner peace. But in order to get inner peace, I think you got to go through a storm because you can't know peace without knowing the opposite side. And you have gone through that. When you talk about growing up, you, like I, born with something that we couldn't control. My disability happened to be from my leg. I didn't walk until I was 11. My first steps as a kid was at 11. And the cruelty, the things that I endured from kids. The first week that I started walking, kids decided to beat me up. They were like, man, hey, you knew? I was like, yeah. I just came out of Shriners Hospital in Chicago. We moved back to Indiana. And the kids were like, new kid? I was like, yeah. And I'm literally learning to walk. Guess got the prosthetic. They decided to jump me. And I was like, what kind of, and then every time I tried to date a girl, now you always got charisma, man. You were just killing it because you were a star. Me, I was the opposite. So girls were like, they would tease girls about dating me. Like, you like him?
Yeah.
The one with one leg, right? And so though you would pray about every morning, God, let me be different when I look in the mirror. You know, he answered your prayer because he did it internally. But externally, it just sometimes doesn't match. Me, I was asking God, why? Why did I have to be the only one in my family with this thing? There's no one. My own father said, I can't believe you're mine because I can't make a cripple. Kept blood testing me and all that stuff. My mom being immature, not knowing what to do with me, gave me to my grandmother to rear. And when you get passed down, you can feel like you've been given away. in the trauma and the dramas that I went through, I know you had to experience much of the same. How did you deal with the moments where you didn't feel accepted? How did you deal when you got rejected or bullied or faced things as a kid?
I went into something that I could control because I couldn't control Crouzon syndrome, and I couldn't control other people. And so I got really good at controlling the things that I could actually control. One thing my parents did like exceptionally well, and man, if every parent could do this today, it would be just incredible. My parents knew I needed confidence. Now in today's society, you get it, right? Like, I have 3 kids, and if I could give them one gift, it would be confidence, 100% confidence. So what my parents did is they're like, all right, we're going to put you in everything. We just need you to have confidence. So brother, from like a singing group called Gingerbread Kids, which I thought was like cruel and unusual punishment, bro. I thought it was the worst. To like clogging.
Oh man, I heard you were great clogging.
Oh, brother, come on.
Before we leave, if you could do a demonstration, ladies and gentlemen, Ben Kjar is going to clog for. No, go ahead. So, all right, clogging, singing.
Oh, dude, from everything under the sun. Like my parents put me in it, but for my own sake, because they knew that, man, if he can't control that, if he can't control the people who are having bad days. Then he's got to, like the bullies, right? He's got to become bully proof. Well, how do you become bully proof? You got to have confidence. And so at a young age, man, I started calling my shot. Like I started putting myself out there because my mom told me, she's like, Ben, people are going to want attention. Yeah. Everyone wants attention now in today's society and social media. People strive for attention.
Yeah, that's it.
She's like, you ain't going to have to garner any attention. You're just going to get it. It's the first thing that people see, right? And so I started deciding to be what I call disobedient to average. That's when my life changed. Bro, that's when my life changed, because every morning I'd wake up and I'd be like, if I could just fit in, if I could just not stand out, if I could just like be average and normal, I prayed for that. Bro. That's like my pet peeve today. Yeah. People who are average and normal and fit in, ooh.
You haven't become anything.
I'm like not interested. Yeah. And so I decided to be disobedient to average. But what does that mean? It means, like when I got into these sports, like wrestling, my coach would be like, 20 push-ups. The cadence around the room would be like 20 push-ups, and we're like running around. And then I had a choice. And if I was obedient to what he said, I would do 20, which is fine. That's normal. That's what's being asked. That's sought as being good. And but now, if I was going to be stand out, if I was going to be different, which my mom said, Ben, you're born to be different. You're different to make a difference. And I would do more. And so when I felt like I couldn't control something, I went down the path of, I can control effort. Yeah. And so my effort to be disobedient to average was when you say to do something, done. 20, 25. That's what I'm going to do, you know?
Dude, man, I love that. Let me tell you why I love it. Is because it's confirmation that I was on the right path. What your parents did for you, my grandmother did for me. And, just sign me up for stuff, like put me in things, force me to come out of being the kid on the porch or the doing this hidden. Because it is natural for people to want to cover up the kid that's different. Because they don't, like my father didn't want me to wear shorts because people would be able to see my legs. So so the idea is if I covered up, if I just hid, then I'd be okay. But if you hide, you bury a gift, you bury a talent. And so, man, I wanted to play basketball because I was like, if I can play basketball, if I can do that, I can prove that I deserve to be like everyone else, right? If I could just do that. And so I tried out for a team, got cut, and I was hurt. And then because I got cut, it just so happened that all the wrestlers were always running laps, constantly running laps, running and all that stuff. You see them in the gym, in the hallway and stuff like that after school. And since I didn't make the basketball team, I tried out for the wrestling team. And the coach was like, come on. with one leg, he didn't care. Basketball, coach didn't even give me the opportunity. And so, but I felt rejected. But wrestling, I get there. And not only did I learn some humbling lessons, though. Like you were a stud from day one, or no? I wasn't.
No, dude, I got beat up.
You did? Oh man,
I got beat up.
I thought it was just me. I tried some stuff like, so I go in, and they had a bunch of white kids that were on the team. So I get in there, and they were like, let's wrestle. But the only wrestling I knew was WWF at the time. Right? I didn't know anything about wrestling. I'm a freshman. And I go in, and I'm trying to DDT kids, man. I'm trying to do stuff that I saw on TV. But it was a little different, man. And there was a kid the coach lined me up with. And this kid looks at me, and I was like, I got to use some of the inner city stuff on him. I was like, man, I'm about to bust you. I'm talking crazy to the kid, man. And I see he's a little nervous, hands are shaking. I'm like, man, you better be scared. And, I'm just talking. And then that kid got a hold of me. And I could feel his confidence growing as he's slamming me around. I'm in a fireman's carry, and I'm like, hey, why can't I get up? Right? And this kid is just disrespecting my body, right? And so I'm threatening him, when I get up, man, I'm going to beat you up. But I couldn't get up. And I was like, man, this is different. Rug burns build character, they say, right? The mat burns. And the more that I wrestled, the more I got in shape, the more my confidence was building. And I got it. The very reason they were cutting me from basketball, I wasn't in condition. But wrestling, it made me feel invincible, man. You can wrestle. When you began to wrestle and you got past the part where people were beating you, when did you become good? When did you realize that you weren't losing, you were learning? When did that happen?
So I called my shot my 7th grade year, and my parents came to me. They're like, well, so what are you going to do? You're in junior high now. You're on a team. I'm like, I'm going to go undefeated. And they're like, Ben, you're not even the best on the team. And I wasn't. I started JV, junior varsity. If you don't know what that means, it means you're not the best on the team. So the kid right in front of me would beat me. But the cool thing is I see people all the time. The two biggest fears of mankind is fear of not being enough and the fear of failure. And so people don't go out there and call their shot because they're afraid of failing. But what if on the path to failing, you can still call your shot? So I did. I looked at my parents. I'm like, I'm going to go undefeated. I was prepubescent, probably 4'7". I'm going to be undefeated. They're like, and the cool thing about my parents is they're like, let's freaking go, baby. And they cheered me on. Like, they were the biggest supporters. I call them my shot callers, right? If I call my shot, they're in my corner helping me call my shot. And finally, I wanted to be a 3-time district champion. Nobody had ever done that in my junior high. And I went undefeated even though I was JV. And I finally met my varsity kid. He had the cool warm-ups, bro. Mine was the baggy parachute on top of me. I'm like, I'm prepubescent, and probably I hadn't even hit puberty at that point. I remember going out there and like being the David against Goliath, but I was willing to freaking pick up the stone. That was the difference, man. That was the difference. If you remember in the Bible, David's brothers were there. They were the mature, strong ones. David was the one helping out, like bringing the food.
That's it.
But he was the one that showed up to the field. And then all of a sudden, the big giants out there, he's like, why are you guys letting him
talk like this?
Why are you letting him call you out? He's talking bad about your wives. He's whatever he was saying, right? And he's like, I'll do it. And sometimes you just have to be naive enough to actually put it out there. And I was. And because I was JV, I was just a little bit naive. I go up against my Goliath, which was my buddy Zach, who just beat up me the whole, like every practice. But I'm like, let's freaking go. And so sometimes you got to be naive enough just to throw the stone. I'm just telling you to pick up the stone and try to aim.
Come on.
Just try to aim. The cool thing about David, which is what I did that day, is he aimed for the head.
Ooh.
Dude, he did the kill shot. And so right there and then in like the region finals, I did the headshot. I threw a head throw. I pinned my varsity guy. And I started believing, man.
Man, it took it to a whole nother...
That was it. I went on to district and I beat a 9th grader when I was a 7th grader. And I remember kneeling down after I won. And my mom in the film, you hear in the background, dig deep, Ben, dig deep. And all I had to do is hold on for a few more seconds. And man, if I wasn't a freaking anaconda at that time, I was like, I get up and I just cried. Yeah. Because then and there, a kid with Crouzon syndrome, a kid that looked different, a kid that when I was listening to my coach in one corner in the moves he was telling me, the cheerleaders were making fun of me. And did I accomplish something?
Come on.
The other people said I was cool to accomplish. That was the difference. And then I went on to be like, oh my gosh, I can call my shot. Let's freaking go. And the swagger gave me confidence, even though my face never changed.
See, but that's why you were bent. So here it is. If we just were on the bell curve and we just been like everyone else, if we had gotten our wish and we're just like everyone else, there would be no reason for us to even be here because there was nothing different about us. But we were given something different so that we could be different. Give somebody, to give an example of what God can do through a life. You mentioned David, and I thought about this. The 5 smooth stones, the reason why he took 5 is because Goliath had 4 brothers. He was so confident that he knew, I'm taking out that one, and when the others come for backup, they go too, right? But once you can go ahead and take out your biggest fear, me stepping out there in that singlet, man, I felt so awkward. It felt like, because my leg is exposed. People were going to see me raw. And I didn't want to be seen that way because it makes you vulnerable. It's easy to cover up. But what I found is for as long as I was silent about things, I muted the help other people needed.
Oh, bro.
Right? And it was like, you did Stand Out. And if for those of you who don't know, Stand Out is his movie. It's his life story. But it's not his life story. It's really a testimony. And it's a segment of time because you're still writing a script right now.
Yeah.
Right?
We're just starting, man.
Yeah, this is just the beginning of it. And so when they came to me and they were like, hey, we want to do your story, I'm just awed by it. And I was like, because that somebody would want to know my story. But then I get to tell and I realized it was not mine. It was always theirs. It was for other people. You didn't just make it. I want to point out something about Stand Out, the movie. What stood out to me is one of the things that you did. You found a kid through dinner invite, Colton, to play the young version of you, to find someone. But what stood out to me is the fact that the traumatic things that happened to you as a child, you didn't allow him to even experience that during the filming of it. The things, the way that God gave you, like, who's going to play the young Ben? Yeah. And God gave you someone.
Yeah.
You know, would you talk a bit about that? Tell them 100%. About Colton.
Yeah, we searched the entire world. I mean, we want to take this movie to the world, but in turn, there's a pivotal point. Like, you got to find the people in reenacting these pieces that looks different. And, you know, Crouzon syndrome already rare enough, let alone finding a kid who has it that acts like you. And so we were within weeks of filming. We had to film this time-wise. And finally we get that call for the dinner invite. And I'm like, yeah, for sure, let's go. So we go about 20 minutes away. And when I walk in the room, I meet the parents, the Fieldings, incredible people.
Wait. You searched the world and it was 20 minutes away.
I searched the world for months and months. And they gave me a call weeks before we filmed. Yeah. And when I show up, Jordan and Anna Lee, the parents, welcomed me into their home. And there I see little Colton Fielding, who lived 20 minutes away from me. I'd never known them, but they had watched me online. Yeah. And they said, we want you to meet our boy. And they're from around the corner. I'll never forget. It was like it was yesterday. They're from around the corner. Comes this little towhead, blonde-headed kid with Crouzon syndrome named Colton, who shines bright like a light, bro. He did not hide behind a bushel, and he's just like, what's up? And I'm like, what's up? And there's little Ben. But in these moments where we film these like devastating parts of my life, because I was the same way, bro. I muted, I hid my light behind a bushel for the longest time. I'm like, I ain't letting you see my difference, even though it's my face. It was a part that I hid, man. It was like a curse it was a gift that God gave me that I turned into a curse. Until I realized it was a gift, man.
Yeah.
Like the difference he gave me was the gift. That's why Jesus, I believe, came back with the marks in his hands from the nails.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, this is the difference. Yeah. Look at me. Yeah. Let me shine, baby.
Yeah.
Because when we come back, we're perfect. But he said, yo, I want this. And so I believe we come back with the ability, once we become resurrected in our life, per se. Once we wake up, in other words. Once we wake up in life and decide to live life, having never died, we leave our death behind of changing. And that's what I decided to do. I'm like, I'm going to tell my story. I believe vulnerability is the biggest superpower we can have. But in this moment, to be vulnerable, I didn't want him to have to relive that. And so what we did, and we separated the scenes so he would never have to sit and marinate in this hate that I had to experience. And it's been the most beautiful thing, man. But here's what I want to mention. There's another person in my film that has his own movie about himself. And man, I guarantee you know him, Anthony Robles.
Yeah.
Anthony Robles was born with one leg.
Yeah.
I wrestled him numerous times. I talked.
You actually wrestled?
Oh, bro, numerous times.
Wow.
He's in my film.
Wow.
So Anthony Robles is in my film. He just had his movie come out just a year ago in January called Unstoppable.
That's right.
Jennifer Lopez and his mom and Ben Askren. He's my buddy too. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon put his film together. And being born with one leg, I tell you what, bro, he is one of my heroes.
Wow.
And we're the same age, and I was on his podcast not long ago, and it was so funny because once you get to a certain level of confidence, you laugh about people making fun of you.
Yeah, it becomes different.
Oh, bro, it gets boring if it ain't like hate coming. Because it's like, dude, like. And it was so funny. We were on his podcast. And he said, dude, I got to tell you this the other day. And it's like, I heard someone make fun of me. He's like, they were making fun of me. And they said, Anthony, I bet the best place you like to eat is IHOP.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, we were laughing so hard together. We were laughing. I'm like, bro, you got to admit that was good, right?
I was cracking jokes with my daughter. And she said, Daddy, if you were a rapper, what would your name be? And I thought she'd been serious. And I was like, man, MC. She's like, no, it'd be IHOP. You see, but you have to be able to find, but you do find joy in that.
Yeah.
Because but that's confidence. The biggest flex is when words that once hurt you, even like the term Christian, was used as a derogatory comment to be called that. And now it's a badge of honor to be able to say, I know Christ and he knows me. And it's the same thing as like to be known, but he lets you be known through the thing that you think you have as a weakness.
100%.
And now look, your face not only, it was the biggest blessing for you because it made you memorable. It made you stand out, right?
100%.
But then the talent that came behind it made it so that the last thing people remembered was what you had to overcome. But God chose and said, this particular challenge needs a face. And it was you. It was designed from the foundation. My grandmother would say this stuff to me. She said, baby, one day you'll do this, that, and the other. And all the things that she spoke, you're talking about your shot callers, the people in your corner. And man, I got to give shout out to your mom and dad, man. You know, the fact that they were like, put him in everything so that he finds out what he wants to do in life. Because there's also the challenges of like being pampered because of what you have.
Yeah.
Right? And there's so many people who shelter your life. If you've got people trying to shelter you, just don't let them experience that. Protect you from that. You force them to have fears and be intimidated by a life that is not meant for them. Man, I tell you, one of the best things that I had is my grandmother made me work. I lived in the inner city, but she made me go work on a farm. I had to bale hay. You know how horrible that is, man? You know how much you sneeze? My grandmother made me work in gardens. I had corn to tassel. Why? Because she was like, you can't allow yourself to believe that you're disabled.
I love
you know? You are in a situation where God removes the things where people would dish you and just lets himself be shown in you that you're not only able, but you're capable. Right?
Absolutely.
You've done the movie. You've been a 3-time state champion, All-American, the first in UVU's history. Those that come after, it doesn't matter what number they come, there can only have been one first. You've done all these things. You've set these goals. Why are you not like other athletes who live in the past of what you used to be? What is it that keeps you going after there's not a crowd, there's not a tournament, what is it that keeps you going after that? Because most people, after the career's done, my singlet's hung up. I'm done wrestling. I'm done with my sport. What is it that made you stay game ready?
Well, dude, I wasn't game ready. I was in a conference. I mean, this was probably 4 years ago. I was in a conference in Florida. My dear friend Russell Brunson. I'm sitting there, and a speaker named Ed Milet gets up, and he says, one of the most insidious forms of child neglect is parents not living their dreams and reaching their potential. I had gone through the first wrestling season of my kids. I have 3 kids, and I was the dad in the corner being like, half nose and double leg, come on, let's go. And the kids, having never watched me wrestle, because I hadn't stepped on a mat in like a decade, man, they're like, Dad, what do you know? You ain't the king of this kingdom. Come on, what do you know about wrestling? I'm like, and I just shut my mouth. I think too many people do this and don't act. I shut my mouth. I'm like, you're right. And when I heard those words from Ed, I decided to enlist in wrestling again. And man, you found me a few months later in Las Vegas at Nationals, signed up. I lost 15 pounds. But with my kids in my corner, brother, they're yelling, champion of the world, crush him, Dad,
let's go.
Him.
Yeah.
And that was the difference. I truly believe that as parents, our kids sometimes listen. Right? But they always watch.
Talk, man.
So I signed up for wrestling again, and then my kids went with me to the World Championships. I outscored my guys, my opponents 64-2 at Nationals, and I went to the World. And I went out there, and I remember being ahead against Azerbaijan in the finals, freestyle. Bow, bow. I was winning. There's about a minute left. My kids are in the stands. Dad, crush him, crush him. And because of fear of failure and fear of not winning, the fear of losing, I stopped, bro, and I lost. Azerbaijan came back. He beat me. And I remember being on the podium, and my kids were crying in the stands. And I thought, going back to the apartment that we had rented out in Greece is where it was at, that my kids would love me less, bro.
No.
I literally thought that. I'm like, my kids will love me less because I got silver. You know what the biggest gift was? I go home and my head's down, and I'm living this victim mentality of, oh man, I lost, fear of failure. My kids grabbed the silver medal, not knowing what it meant, and they ran around the apartment with the silver medal, fighting for it, out of 3 of them. Let me wear it. And they were yelling, champion of the world.
Oh, come on.
And isn't that what we want, though?
Yeah, man.
We want our wife. We want our kids. We want our loved ones just to get in the ring, man. Get in the ring and swing. Pick up the rock and swing it. And aim for the head. And luckily, I signed up for 2 styles, not just freestyle, but Greco. And so a couple days later, I was able to let my kids watch. And I was able to let them watch, not talk. I was able to let them watch Dad get to the finals again against Italy this time. And with a minute left, I'm ahead. Same scenario. But this time I told my kids, I'm like, kids, this is a lesson. Your dad stopped.
Talk.
Your dad stopped. He stopped. Dad stopped because he was fearful. I went on and I decided not to stop. That was the only goal. It wasn't winning. It was just, you ain't going to stop. And with 8 seconds left, Italy gave up. He put his hand out to shake my hand. And I ended up winning, going to the podium. The national anthem plays. I had the American flag around my shoulder. And my kids, with the gold and the silver medal around their neck, ran around the mat. And the lesson I took out of that was, there ain't no gold without silver, baby.
Come on, man.
And now we just had their first competition last night, and they didn't win every match. And they came to me and they're like, Daddy, you remember when you lost? I got back up again.
Come on,
and
man.
And now we talk about the losses as the step to the win.
Instead of there being the blemish, instead of being, I lost something.
So you asked me, like, how do you stay game ready? Well, I haven't been game ready. And we all aren't always game ready. But here's the thing. Are you willing to let your kids watch? Because the level of how we live our life, the level of how we set our goals is literally default of how our kids know how to dream. And so I'm so blessed that Ed said that shocked my soul to get me back into living so that my kids' default way of living is not my worst set of living. Because for a while it was like, Dad, what do you know? You went wrestling? Now they don't need to listen. Last night, I wasn't in their corner telling them moves because they'd seen me.
Come on.
And my wife was like, how do they know that move? I'm like, babe, they watched.
That's it. Dude, there's a message in that. I got to the point where people thought I could do anything because I started doing everything.
I believe you can do anything.
Hey, come on, bro. I believe that with you. So watch, So I get a phone call, and there's a lady who's in a wheelchair as a result of a drunk driver. She was a military. She's running. Drunk driver hits her, got embarrassed about hitting her, drags her into a ditch, kicks her a few times, jumps in his car and takes off. She ends up nearly dying. She loses her left leg above the knee. And she had been a marathoner. Anyway, they give me a call, and they were like, she's trying to get back into marathoning. And her goal was a year after the accident, was to run, and she's not going to be able to. We're wondering if you could push her wheelchair during the marathon so that she can participate.
Come on.
And I was like, I'm in. So I get there, and then the insurance company is like, no, sorry, we're not going to allow you to push her. Something could happen, but you can run in her place. Now, I lift weights, man, but I never ran. And so I was like, how far is it? Right? 'Cause I didn't know. And so I heard somebody say 5K. I was like, that's cool. So I went over to one of the white guys there. I was like, how far is 5K? And he goes, it's 3 miles. I said, okay, yeah, I can do that. And so I go over, and there's a group of people, her family's there, and a bunch of amputees. And I walk over, and my kids are there. And they had not seen me do it much of never seen me try to run or anything. And my sons say to me, Dad, win. And I was like, shh, it's on. And so I tell everybody, I'm about to win this thing. And I'm like, I'm about to take off running. Dude, all I cared about, I made sure my outfit was matching, I looked good and all that. I didn't get good shoes. I didn't know all that stuff. I show up, and they announced that I'm there running on behalf. And I look over, and I see these dudes with I am tattoos on their arm. And I was like, wait a minute, man. These Ironman dudes are different, I don't know if I'm going to beat them. So I was like, are you guys doing the 5K? And it's like, no, we're doing the full marathon. And I was like, oh, okay. So I thought it was 2 separate races. So I was like, good, because I was about to try to shame them. Man, it's a shame y'all had to come run little 3 miles against disabled people to feel, I was going, because I was like, I don't want to lose to them either. So now it's a different race, I think. So we're good. And so the tournament director, her name was Teresa. She was like, you ready, Mr. Dixon? I was like, man, I'm ready. Let's go. And I was like, 3 miles, right? She's like, no. It's a full marathon. And I was like, wait. But now the gun goes off and I have to take off. Enthusiasm is waning. And so I'm like, there's no way. I said, I'm going to just quit when I get around the corner or something, because I've never done this before. So I'm running, and people are passing me up and stuff. And I was like, man, as long as I stay ahead of some of the heavy set people in the beginning, I'm all right. So we're doing this thing. We're running, we're going. And I had just got a brand new prosthetic, the one I wear today. It's carbon fiber. It's all that stuff. I had a real wooden leg growing up. I mean, it was 25 pounds. This one's only like 6 pounds. And so to drag that around, and the sores I would get, the pain I would endure, but I didn't feel any pain on this one. I wasn't feeling anything. In fact, I'd only had this one 2 days. But so I'm running in this thing, and I'm going. As I'm running, I'm like, man, I'm going to quit as soon as this, it starts hurting my leg.
Yeah.
Well, my leg wasn't hurting me. So my excuse was gone. So I keep going. And for the first time in my life, I felt fatigue in my sound leg, or my good leg. I'd never had that before. It was new to me. And so I'm just curious, man, to just keep going. So now I'm at about the 8-9 mile mark, and I'm like, man, my lungs are on fire.
Yeah.
But there's some questions that I didn't know about myself that I'm about to discover. So I end up asking one of the guys to run and say, hey, where you pee at? He said, let it go. Right? and I was like, let it go. Or like, pee on me? Oh, no. And then I was like, man, I really do need to go though. And I was like, man, okay. So I'm going to trust these guys. And maybe, I hope he ain't pranking me, man. But, if you're going to keep running, because if I stop, I know I'm not going to get going again.
Yeah, totally.
In life, you have to go through moments where maybe you will piss the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe you will piss away opportunities. Maybe go through some challenges. I was ready to quit. And then my kids jumped in the race and started running with me.
Oh, man.
And so they're like, let's go. You said you're going to win, right? And I was like, man, okay. So my second wind kicks in. And then it starts to rain. And I was like, man, one of the dangerous things when you have one leg is footing. And I was like, man, I don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
And a wet course could change things for me if I get injured. So I'm thinking this safety kicks in. And so I was going to quit. And all of a sudden it stopped raining. It rained and then stopped. And so my excuse is gone. So God was like, that's not your stopping point. So my fear wasn't real. And then my kids jumped back in the race again. And my oldest son, he needed something to do. So, because he was pushing the pace way too fast. And I was like, man, I'm going. And he's like, let's go. And I was like, I give you $100 if you catch the dude in first. He takes off like he's going to catch the first place guy. And then as he got closer to the guy, he turns around, comes back. And it was like, I'd rather run with you.
Wow.
Now, these are the same kids. When I wasn't being active, then when I go to the mall, they want to walk 50 feet in front of me like there's something wrong with me. But when they see you active and they see you are still willing to be a gladiator, they'll get in the arena with you, right? And I said, for me to experience that moment, now I wasn't running just for that lady. That was a great cause. That was external. Now I'm running for my bloodline. And so I finished this thing and I found another version of me was laying under the surface. I found myself doing something I never thought I could do. I finished my first marathon and didn't know I was in one. And if I could do something I didn't even know I was in, if I could finish that, what can't I do, right? And when I finished, I gave the medal to the lady. I got in my car, and then all the pain kicked in. I was good until that moment, but the pain was even good because I'd never experienced those emotions before. For anyone that's at home now, every parent, every dad that's watching, every mom that's sitting on what they used to be, ignite them, if you would, for a moment about what they still have to do. It's not about just getting your kid, taking your kid to see Stand Out. Take your kid, take yourself, take your family, watch Stand Out. If you rent it, buy it, whatever you have to do because it'll ignite you, but talk to the parent about what they still need to do.
You know what? You guys have the opportunity to show your kids 100%. I think too often we feel like we have to. I coached wrestling for a long time, and you try to live your dream through your kid. That's my biggest pet peeve, man. What dreams do we let go just to push on our kid? Stop doing that. Show them, man. When are you going to call your shot? I don't know if it's weight. I don't know if it's a competition. I don't know if it's something that you have to get stronger in or lose weight at or whatever it is. Put it out there, baby. Show your kids. Don't talk with them. My biggest desire for parents is for them to stop not living, baby. Well, what's the next goal you have? Every single year we sit down in January or December and we're like, all right, here's what I'm doing. Instead of writing down your kids' dreams and your kids' events and your kids' activities, what's yours? Come on, what are you showing them? Parents who are living today, who are running the marathons, who is doing the wrestling, who's getting back into co-ed softball, I don't care what it is. Let your kids sit down and watch. I was speaking just recently in an event, and I talk about that story about jumping back into wrestling, and I play a video, and my kids, and you hear them. And afterwards, you get this. We talked about this before, how when you speak, people don't leave. They stay. Mm-hmm. The most magical part about speaking on stage isn't when you're on stage.
Come on, dog.
It's after.
Yeah.
And there's a guy who came up to me after and he said this. He's like, Ben, my kids don't have anything to cheer for because I've never given them anything to cheer me on about. And so when was the last time you gave your kids something to cheer for you about? What is it? Like, for real, think about it. Mm-hmm. When was the last time your kids were able to sit in the stands and eat popcorn and yell your name? Smash him, Daddy. Yeah. Go get him, champion.
Come on, Mom.
When was the last time they were able to run the marathon with you? When was the last time they were able to stand aside with the posters and say, finish the race? When was the last time? Literally think about it. When was the last time they were able to sit down and be like, Mom, Dad, did you do your reps today?
Come on.
And if that has been a while, I'm going to say shame on you, man. Yeah. Like, because truly one of the most insidious forms of child neglect is parents not living their dreams. Like, when I literally heard that from Ed, it was me listening and saying, that's child abuse.
Come on, man.
In the rarest form.
Yeah.
It's not child abuse if you hitting your kid and the bruise goes away. It's literally, this stays with them. Mm-hmm. Give them something to cheer about, baby.
Man, listen, what you just said there, the reps, about getting your reps in. Reps is like short on reputation. You want something with them. You want to build a reputation. It's not appreciation. I bought you stuff. You see, that doesn't do anything. It doesn't last. And it's hard to be appreciative about clothes at Christmas. Thank you, Mom. Right? That's, you want to be appreciative. Give me something that I aspire to be. Show me that gladiator spirit in you. Even you hear Kevin Durant talk, he talks about, my mom worked 2 jobs so I can have this. It was like they witnessed it. They saw hard work. They saw ethic. They saw something, right?
And you see how he treats her?
Oh, the adoration.
She's a queen.
Yeah, because she's everything. And so he's like, why isn't Kevin Durant married? He's like, man, I'm waiting to find somebody like Mom. Your kids are looking for someone. You might as well give them you. It's not the reflection in the mirror they see where they look like you. They're talking about they want to be like you. In order to be like you, you got to be something. You got to do something. My motivator was my grandmother. And she would always say to me, what am I raising? And the reason why she would ask me that is that there's a call and response between me and her. She was like, you're raising me to be someone's father, someone's husband. She said, I'm raising you to be a great man, not good. You know? I didn't give up. She's like, I retired. I could have spent my life doing anything, but I spent my time with you. And if I'm going to give you my life, you got to become great. So this year I went back and I got my doctorate out of the way. But my kids needed to see that, graduate to get that, all the things. Now, why do I wait till 52 to do it? The times that you've been sitting on the shelf, like you had a moment where Ed spoke into your life. But truth is, it was God used him as a spark plug to get to your will to say, look what you do. Look what you can become. As a result of it, your kids didn't just get a champion. We got one. Ben Kjar stands out because you didn't get into the arena again as a gladiator for yourself. You didn't get in it for your kids even. You got in it for me and for everyone else. Because how do we know that we can overcome what we feel awkward about? When you make it, you took what once was a challenge and what was faith as a mustard seed, trying to change the face, and you became the face of how to stand out. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for pouring into us. But I want you guys to do me a favor. I want you to not only follow him, but would you take a moment and talk to them about what you have coming up so we can support it?
Guys, January 23rd, 2026, Stand Out hits theaters. And we're so glad, dude. We're so blessed. We have just people. Isn't it interesting that every single one of us are writing our own movie? We're writing the next chapter of our story. And as you do that, people will come into your life. It's crazy. I have the most incredible film director and one of the producers we have. I mean, we have Tanner, Christensen. He's incredible. He's a director. His dad, TC, has just done incredible movies. And then one of the film producers we have is Jared Hess, who just came out with Minecraft. He did Napoleon Dynamite, Nacho Libre.
Wow.
People like them have been able to see the light that I never saw in myself back in the day. And as you guys start to put yourself out there and live with vulnerability and power, just like you said, other people pick up that light and they help you shine it. So January 23rd, it comes into theaters, and I can't wait because there's a little boy in that audience. It's just like Colton.
Yeah.
There's a little boy in that audience that was just like little Ben. And this is what's going to humble me, is to hear the messages of that little boy or that little girl that always needed someone to pour back into them. There's a part in the film where it's little Colton and then he meets me. And there's a moment where I give Colton a high five after a moment that just was really hard for him. And there's a moment for me that I'm going to be able to have when I hear messages of these kids sitting in the seats, watching the film, and hopefully being impacted. This is a generational impact that we want to make. This is a change of a narrative that we want to make. When you feel like you're meant to fit in and you're meant to hide, I'm going to tell you that without any ordinary chance of living, without any chance of living an ordinary life, you have the opportunity to live an extraordinary one. And that's what we want to put out to the world, man. Because now more than ever, you get to trade love for hate.
Come on, man.
You get to trade absolute and inner acceptance for people that don't say that you're acceptable.
Yeah.
And so I tell you what, man, people like you stand out. People like you shine your light in the world. As I sit here with you, I'm like, man, you're a voice of power. You're a voice of like light. I'm telling you, because you chose to stand out, because you chose to tell your story, because people like your mom didn't coddle you, but she cuddled you and she loved on you. She allowed you to just be a pillar of strength. And so, man, I just look forward to seeing you shine your light in a bigger way. I look forward to being in the audience eating popcorn and being like, Dixon, let's go, baby. I look forward to cheering you on because you're an absolute hero, man.
Man, thank you, brother, for being an encourager. We could have taken the route and gone and got handouts and used disability. We could have stayed and said, I'm a victim. Unfortunately, we could have hid behind. I know pants were the helmet for football for you. Yeah. We hid behind these things. The moment the mask comes off, the moment you undress and people see you, you're back in the way that God made you. You were beautiful from the day you were born. You're beautiful today. Whatever it is that you're going through, you don't need handouts. You don't need any kind of outs in life. You need inroads, and so that you can end up standing out. Do me a favor. Don't just see the film. This is the Rudy of our generation. Rudy was great in that everybody can celebrate the fact that someone worked so hard and they got a moment. But this is a difference. This is a difference maker because Ben gives us through his life a moment that we all can live with him, through him, celebrate, walk out and feel like a champion ourselves. But then the fact that you know that he's just saying, I stand out so you can stand out. Follow my pathway. Follow me now, follow me later. And if words impacted his life and he was already a champion, his words will affect our lives. I beg you, make sure that you go out to see Stand Out. It hits the theaters in January. But you need a New Year's resolution to be the champion you were meant to be. Stand out. Call your own shot.
God bless you, brother.
God bless you, brother.